Hello, my name is Bill Bross, and I'm a developer here at Vieth Consulting. Today's video is going to focus on a general overview of the event registration system, just from start to finish, and some of the different capabilities that it has. Other videos will focus more in depth on individual options, so if you're interested in those, please check out for the other videos. All right, so as you can see here, we're at the very main members page that admins see when they log in. To get to the event registration module, we will go to Event Management, and then we will go right over here to Event Registration. We'll let this load up here. Now this is going to be your main page for event registrations. All your event registrations are going to be listed here, and you can find all of your historical event registrations and the associated information along with it here. You'll see here, now that this page is loaded up, we're currently looking at event registrations that are upcoming. By default, ones that have passed are going to be hidden, but we can enable this by clicking on Show Past Events, or showing any individual year and clicking Go. Also, we can search for individual names or dates or things like that for event registrations. Now, this page has a few different components here. The first thing I want to point out are these two options up top here. We've got Search for Attendee, All Event Reporting, and View and Edit Event Categories. These will be discussed more in depth in other videos, but just in general, the Search for Attendee, it lets you search by either an invoice number or a name, so you can always look someone up and see their event registration records. All Event Reporting is when you want to do reporting from all your events combined, like between date ranges. Each individual event has its own reports with it, but the All Event Reporting will report on all of your events. So those kind of reports are going to be found here. And then View Edit Event Categories. We have the ability where you can create different categories for your event registrations. One great example of this is you can make categories for spring events, summer events, and fall events. And then you can categorize your events that way, and people can view them by category. If you have a whole lot of event registrations going on, this is a great way to break them down a little bit and make them not as daunting for the users to look at. Excuse me. Now, down below that here, we've got our actual list of event registrations, and that's this part right here. On the left of each one here, and also, sorry, at the top, you can sort it. So right now it's sorting by the name of the event registration, but we can also click here to sort it by date. So at the top here, we've got the name of the event registration and a link to start changing it if you want to. We've got the dates that it runs between, and we've got the description right here at the bottom. This is going to be the same setup for all your events running down the side here. Oh, and if you have different options, they're going to show up here. So for example, this one is hidden. This one has an attendee cap. This one's auto copy. So this is just a quick brief overview of what your event is right here, and you can look, click the change button to look in more depth to it. You'll also notice that a couple of these have pin icons here. These are events that are pinned, so you have the ability to take an event and pin it to the top. So regardless of what they search or what the date or the name is, it will always appear at the top if it's pinned, and you'll see they organize themselves that way as well. On the right side here for each one, you get your different functions that you can do for each event. So for each one, you'll want to look here what the category is here. So these are for the overall event. So we can change it, we can delete it, we can make a copy of it, or we can send out invitations. That's what this last one is here. So all of these are different functions that we'll go into, and we'll all go into these in a few moments. Down below here is admins. You have the ability, by default, all full admins are going to be admins of event registration and can do anything they want in here. But you also have the ability to grant individual members admin access to certain events. So if you only want somebody to be a manager for one event, you have the ability to do that. And that's where you would manage that right here. And then your attendees down here, this one lets you send a message, so you can send out a broadcast email and send out different options with that. This one here lets you create a survey that you can send out to attendees. This one here is the reports that I talked about earlier. So any reports, sign-in sheets, name tags, that kind of stuff is all going to be found under the reports tab here. And then edit, this is how you look at your attendees for a given event here. All right, and again, that's going to be the same setup for all of these different ones, all the different events running down the side. Down below here, if you want to add a brand new one, that's where you're going to start with. So this one will add a brand new blank event registration that you can enter all the information from scratch. And then this option down here, right here, will let you add one from the calendar of events. So if you've already got an event in the calendar, you can easily create a new registration based off of that, and it will auto-copy a lot of information in there for you. And finally, down here at the bottom, these are the registration URLs. And what this box down here does is this is the public links that you will hand out to people so that they can register for your event. So for example, we've got the name of the event and the date right here. And then here is the link that you'll want to give out to individual people when you want them to register for this event. We also have a general registration menu. And this one you can hand out and it will give people a list of events and they can click on which one they want to go to register for from there. And as you scroll down here, you can see we've got all the events listed. All right, so the first thing we want to do here is we want to look at just creating or changing an event from scratch. Whether you add a new one or you create one from here, the process is going to look exactly the same, even when you edit it. Excuse me. So let's just look at one that we can change right here. So if we were to click this change button here, it's going to open up this page here. Now again, I'm going to go over some of the basics of this page. We'll have other videos that you can look at that will go over what each of these options do in depth. But just in general, you can see here we're on page 104, and the general way to think of event registration is like a big upside down triangle. It's going to start asking for very general information, the name, the date, stuff like that, and it's going to get finer and finer as you ask for packages and then individual options that people want to sign up for during registration. And so those will be on the subsequent screens from here. So the main purpose of this first page is just to set up your general options. The only things that are absolutely necessary are you need to have an event name right here. You need to have some kind of description about your event. And as you can see here, you can put pictures in, you can format it in different ways, you can put links. You're allowed to put HTML in here, so you can do pretty much anything you want with the description here, and this will show up on your event page. And then the other thing that is required is a begin date. If the event is only one day, you don't need to put an end date in, but if it's multiple days, you can put in an end date and it will know to stretch it over the calendar for that long. Some of the other things on this page that are important to know about or look at, here's the pin to the top option that I was talking about before. This will just make sure that the event is highlighted at the top of all the lists. The event category, as I was talking before about setting up event categories, you can pick from the drop-down of categories that you've created. So all these ones can be custom. This list can be custom to each organization. And then we've got a location here. So you can put in the location, and then on invites or maps or anything like that, this will be the location that shows up for the event. You'll also notice here we've got some red text. If somebody has already registered for the event, this will let you know. You're still allowed to change items if you want to after that, but this is just a general message letting you know that someone has signed up for this, so be careful what you change because it will affect them as well. So like I said before, we've got the begin and the end date here, and we've got a time. If we're using anything with add to calendar buttons or anything like that, this is the start and the end time that it will use when it's adding to people's calendars. And also we've got a vCalendar file in confirmation, so that's where it's going to pull from, so they can add that directly to their Outlook. We've got a registration cutoff date. What this one does is normally a registration will show until the day that it starts, and then the day after that it will fall off of any list that we're showing to the public. If you want it to fall off earlier than that, you can set the cutoff date. And this date can be anything you want, but as soon as that date passes, the registration will no longer show up on the lists. And then this option right here, registration available, this is how you control if it's showing for members or not, or if people can register. Available means exactly that. It can be available for all members. Non-members, people can see it and register. It's completely open. But then some of the other options we have disabled. This one means that you cannot register for it and it's going to be hidden. And then hidden, this is a very useful one for testing. It will make the event available so you're allowed to register for it and test, but it's not going to show it on any of the lists. So you'd have to have the direct link to it in order to register. And then we have some other ones that basically they all disable the registration, but you can say it's closed, it's full, it's temporarily suspended, or it's coming soon. And those are just different message types that it will give on the registration page when people look at it. Some other things that are down here that are important, the notification emails right here. Whenever someone registers for an event, it's going to send a copy of their confirmation email to the notification email address here. That way, an event coordinator can keep tabs on how many people are registering, what they're registering for, how many invoices they have. So this just gives you a notification here. So you've got 3 different ones here, and you can separate more by spaces and add more of them if you want to. Let's see what else on this page. We can suppress payment options. So in the global configuration, you can set up what payment methods are available, but on an event by event basis, you can choose to suppress different ones. So you don't have to allow pay event at every event, but you can suppress it at certain ones. The attendee limit per event. This is an important one. If you have an event that only has 50 people there, you only have 50 spots, you can put an attendee limit and it will automatically close registration after that and not allow anyone else to register. The one below this, the attendees per transaction limit, normally the way that the registration works is that a person can go in and register, and then they can add other people to their registration and then pay for them as well, all on one invoice. If you want to limit how many people they can add, or if you want to prevent it completely, you can put a value in here. So if I was to put 1, it would allow them to register themselves and no one else. But if I put 5 in here, they could register themselves and 4 additional people. The one right below here is use discount codes. If this is checked, it will enable a page in a moment where you can create different discount codes that either give flat discounts, percent discounts, things like that to people who register and use them. And those are codes that you can send out via email to people and have them get a hold of them that way. Let's see. The rest of these, that you can require different things and use different verbiage and stuff like that here. And again, like I said, there will be a separate video where you can look at the individual options one by one here, and we'll go over what all those mean. All right, so on to the second page. So again, this basically was just general information, just overall settings for the event. The next page that we're going to go to here is going to deal with packages. Packages are they're basically the one thing that people are going to, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to look at discount codes actually first, I apologize. Discount codes here, these are the ones that we've already set up for the event, and we can always add a new code here, or we can copy them from another event. And we're just going to edit a current one here so we can look at what this looks like. Okay, so the name right here, this is what the code is going to be. So you would hand this out to people. They would fill this in as they were registering. The percent off and the flat amount, that's exactly that. You can do one or the other. If you tried to enter a value into both ones, it will give you an error. So you have to pick which one you want here. We've got a description here. This is mainly just for admins, just so you know what the difference is here. And then we've got discount type. Now this can differ based on how you want the code to work. We can either have it only apply to the packages, we can have it apply to the subtotal overall, which is going to be the packages plus any custom fields, or we can apply the discount to the overall invoice total. So we can wait until everything has been added to the invoice and then apply the discount. So code can be set up in any of these ways. And yeah, so it will just affect how it works there. Member guest both. This means that this determines who can use the code. Both members and guests mean that anybody can use this code, but otherwise you can set up so that only guests could use it or only members could use it. And then you can also put an expiration date so that it will only work to a certain point. And the way this works is that it will stop working on the date that you enter right here. And then finally in here we've got thresholds. What thresholds do is they allow you to apply a discount code, but only after a certain threshold of attendees has been met. So if I was to enter 1 here, it would mean that I must have 1 attendee already entered at full price before this discount will take effect. We could also have a maximum threshold, and if I set this at 3, this would mean that 3 attendees would be able to get this discount, and then it would cut off after that and not work for anyone after that. So this is only if you have sort of limited rate discounts, or the first 3 people out of a group of 8 get a discount, something like that. The threshold could be used on. Okay, so let's go back to the codes page again. Okay, so again, we're going to see everything listed here. Now you'll see, this is obviously a flat one, this is a percent, and then you can add, change, and delete them from right there. So let's continue past here. And now we are going to the package page. Like I was saying before, packages are the one thing that people will sign up for during registration. Now, we can create custom fields on the next page, which will be all sorts of other options where you can ask for meal preference or sessions that they want to attend or anything like that. Pretty much it's up to your imagination on the next page. But the packages will be things like a gold package, a platinum package, a silver package that will encompass other options and have a price to them. Each attendee must select a package, and each attendee may only select one package. So there's no way that somebody could select more than one different package here. To add a new one, you would just click this Add New Package here. If you want to reorder these, you can click it and drag it and pull it anywhere you want and just leave it, and it will automatically update. And then to edit them here, oh, I'm sorry, you can also copy them. So if I just want to make a direct copy of a package, I could click that. Or we can edit them right here. And again, editing and adding them will look the same. So we'll look at the screen here. We must give it a name, so we can call it whatever we want here. And we have to give it, or we don't have to give a description, but description is usually useful so that the attendee will know exactly what's in here. The package cost, this can be different per package. And then again, we have this member guest both. So this determines the permissions for the package. We could say that this is for guests only, and you'll see the member types go away because this is for guests only, so it doesn't matter. We could also limit it to board members only. So if there were board members set up in your member database, we could leave it to them. We could also open it for everyone, so anybody could get this one. If we do have it for members only, though, we get the member type option down here. So we can even go further and say not only do they have to be a member, but they must be an executive type member. Or we can select multiple ones of these. If we do that, even if they log in and they're a member, if they're not this specific type, they won't be able to get this package. So this is a great way where you can limit pricing or depending on members, non-members, or even their status within the organization. And then down below here, we've got a couple of date options. We've got the available after date. And if we enter something in here, it means that the package on here will not show until this date has passed. Or I'm sorry, until this date has been reached. So this would be the very first day it would show. The cutoff date, also, if we entered something in here, that would be the very last day the package would show. So this can be useful for like an early bird package, like if you're going to chain those together. So you could have an early bird package run from one date to another one, and then create another package that starts and is available on another date after that one is closed. And that way you can offer different pricing based on when people register. We can also make restricted packages. If something is restricted, it means that it's only selectable by admins. So normal people will not see this during registration, only admins will. This is excellent and useful for comped packages, or if you want to keep speaker packages or things like that. And then openings available. If you want to limit, so if you only have 10 openings for a specific package or something like that, you can enter that in here, and it will again hide that package after that's been reached. You can also make things table packages. We'll go into that in more detail in other videos, but in general, you can create a table package where a person would pay one price and get to add a certain number of attendees. And then you can enter how many attendees would be included per table that they would add. So that would be useful for banquet tables or things like that. All right, so that's how packages look. Oops, let me refresh this. And again, each attendee must select one package, and they're limited to one package per registration. Now, for other additional options, we're going to look at custom fields, which are here on the next page. So we're going to continue on to there. And custom fields are, these are when we're getting down to the real detail of the registration. And we want to find out specific things that they want to register for. And this is all going to be searchable and reportable once we get into there. So as you see in this example here, we've got sessions here. So we've got a Monday morning, 8 to 12 morning classes. And somebody can select from these options right here. Similarly, we've got, down here we've got Tuesday lunch, and you can check which options you want there. We can enter special text fields, which you can enter in here. So basically, the sky's the limit when it comes to the custom fields. And just like the packages, you can click and drag these to reorder them and have them appear in different order if you want to. We're just going to add a new field here and show you how that works. Now, as this page loads here, we've got several different options for field types that you can pick. Text fields are going to be just basic text when you just want, a couple words about something. Somebody's last name, or a number that you want, or something like that would be great for a text field. A selection box is going to be a drop-down box or radio buttons, and that's where you can present somebody with a group of options and they can only pick one of them. A checkbox is exactly that. It's just going to be a checkbox that they can either check or leave unchecked. If you have something where you want people to select multiple items out of a list, checkboxes are great. You can make each checkbox one of the options, and then they can select any or all. Multi-line text, this is great when you're making something that you want like a paragraph from somebody, a few sentences or something. how was the conference, what were your impressions, things like that. Numeric, these are when you just want a number of items. So if you've got a field that says number of tickets, number of people at your table, things like that, and you can attach a price to each one of those. An open donation, if you just want to make a field where people can just put in whatever amount of money they want and add it to their registration, that's what that one's great for. And then a text caption. This is just used for giving instructions, but it can also be used to break up the registration to make it look very nice. So we're just going to make a basic text field here. The screen will look pretty much the same for all of them. And as this loads up here, you'll see that the first thing it's going to ask for is the field name. This is what's going to show up to the attendee as they're registering. And we can also give it instructions, and these can be put on a drop-down thing that can be open and closed as the attendee is looking at it. Just like the packages, we've got cutoff dates and available on dates, and these work exactly the same way. We also have a restricted option, works the same way as the packages. If it's marked as restricted, it means that only admins can see it and select it. Normal attendees are not going to see that. We're also able to enable attendance tracking by field. If that is enabled, we can use our attendance module to individually check people in and out of these and record attendance on individual field sessions. Likewise, we can add additional credit hours to those, so we can add credit hours across multiple sessions and see how many they got. We can also tie fields to specific packages. If we check that one here, we can select these different packages, and it means that this field will only show up if one of these packages is selected here. We can also use entry required, which would force them to enter something into those ones. So if you want to make sure that they fill that out, you can mark entry required. We also have some additional data fields. These are used in some various customizations, but in general, they can be used to add additional data to these things. So if you want to add a location or a speaker, or if it takes place on a certain date or start and end time, or even if you want to add custom text about it, you can add all of this stuff into the field record as well. All right, and that's as easy as it is to create custom fields. You're limited to a certain amount of fields, as you can see on here, but there's plenty on here, and if you ever need any more added, you can always submit a ticket. We're happy to do that. All right, so we go back to the field page here. Again, we can add a new field right here, but since we're done right here, and again, they all work pretty much the same, we're going to continue past that to the end. And on this last page here, we're going to get a preview of what the registration will look like. This is more of a preview for an admin instead of how it will actually look for the user. Because as an admin, it's showing you all the different options right here. Now you can see here it's displaying all the packages regardless of what permissions we put on. It's also showing all the fields, and it's letting us know information about them. So these are dependent upon certain things. Okay. If you want a real great look for how the registration is going to look, my advice is to go to open up a tab and register for yourself using these links down here at the bottom of these registration URLs. So for example, if I was to copy this, I could start registration and look at it from my end here. Okay, so we've looked at how it is to create an event. Now I just would like to show you a couple things about once people start registering and how we can deal with people from there. So again, if we want to look at people who've attended, we're back at our main attendee page, or our main event page. We can go to this attendees part and then click on edit. And this is going to give us the list of people who have registered, and we have different options that we can do from there. All right, so this page again, we list all of our attendees. Starting from the top to the bottom here, we've got a search one. So if you've got, this one only has 10 attendees, but I've seen ones with thousands on there. So if you want to search for a specific person, you can do that right here. We've also got some different check-in options. So if we want to check people into the event overall, we can do that. Or if we want to check people in field by field, we can do that one here. And these are if we've enabled those options for the event. On the left here, you'll see we've got our list of event contacts. And then next to them, we've got all their event attendees. So this is, again, if you enter multiple people onto your event registration. We've got Vicki Vickers right here, and we see her over here, but we've also got other people she's added. If people are singular, they'll just show up right next to each other like that. We can click this checkbox to check them in and out. So if this checkbox is checked, it indicates to the system that yes, they were signed up and they attended. If it's unchecked, it says to the system that they signed up, but they did not actually attend the event. And again, we can clear all and mark all from down here. The little info icon next to each one of these will give you a preview of their attendee summary. So it will quickly let you see what somebody has signed up for and what their options were and if they owe money or anything. In this column here, it will give their payment method and their entry point. So INV means they've selected the invoice option, and the pub over here means that they registered on the public end, through the public side. EVT means they're going to pay at event. CHK means they're going to pay by check. POP is for purchase order. And we don't have any on here, but we've also got CCP, which is for credit card payments. In addition to this pub over here, if it says ADM, it means they were registered by an admin. And if it says MA, it means they registered through the members area. So those are just some of the different ones you may come across here. In this other column, we've got their invoices, so we can take a look directly at the invoice. If it is paid, it will show up right here with PD to let you know that. And then we've got some functions right here. So we can edit in each attendee. So if somebody calls and they need to change something about their registration, you as an admin can always go in here and edit anyone's individual registration. You can also get or add notes about the attendee. These are not visible to the attendee, but if you want to add admin notes about them, that's how you can add them here. You can void them out by clicking on the X here. By sending this, or by clicking on this one, you can send them their confirmation email. They'll automatically receive one once they register, but if somebody loses it or you want to remind somebody about it, you can always resend it right from here, and it will automatically do that for you. And this printer icon right here means you can print their name badge. This isn't enabled for everyone, but we can always add extra name badge printing things right here. Now down below that list, so this is again all your attendees right here, we can add attendees manually. So if you're an admin and you need to add people manually, this is how you can do it. You can either search and add one directly from the database, or you can add somebody who you know is not in the database right here. Or you can pick from the member list right here if you know exactly who you want and just add them right from the list. And then down here at the bottom, you can show your void. So any people that you voided out and you want to look at and see what their registration was, you can show that right here. And that's the attendee screen. So let's go back here to the main screen. So again, that's how you're going to look at all your different attendees and see things like that. Right next to that one is the reports button. Now, if I click that here and pull this up, these are all sorts of different reports that you'll have available for each event that you create. So any of these can be used by you to report on your events. I'm just going to go over the categories here. Our query creator is a very powerful tool. It essentially will let you create your own event report based on your own parameters and fields that you've set up. So you could say, I want to only look at people who selected this package and also selected this field. And then that will pull up a list and you can format it different ways for your report results there. These reports right here are a bunch of individual attendee reports. Probably the most useful one in my experience is this attendee export, which is basically a CSV spreadsheet. Excuse me. You can use this export for a whole lot of things, but most specifically you can use it for mail merges in Microsoft Word, which will let you create your own specific name badges, certificates, I mean anything you can really think of from that using the CSV. So this is a really powerful one to use. And this pretty much has everything, any option that they've signed up for in it. Below this, we've got attendance reports. These are going to report reports about whether people attended or did not attend the event, and that was those checkboxes on the attendee page before. Down below here, we've got a whole bunch of different sign-in sheets. So these are all basically, they're all sign-in sheets, but they all look a little bit different and work a little bit differently and are different sizes. So you can use whichever ones of these prefer. Down below that, we've got payment and invoice reports. So all of these are going to deal with, any payments that were made for the event, any invoices that were created. You can look at paid versus unpaid. You can even do a fee breakdown and see, where different things came from. You can also get CSV exports of these ones as well. And then down below that, we've got all sorts of different name tags. So you can see here, some are just generic, 6 or 8 per page, but then some fit specific Avery templates that you can see right here, and then some are all even Word templates here. So we can do a lot with name tags, and we can also make custom ones as well. All right, so that is the Reports tab. Go back out here to the main page. Okay, and the last thing that I want to show off right here is the message feature for attendees. So this is how you can contact all of your attendees at once after they've registered. So this is great if you want to provide them additional information. So say that you want to give them documentation before the event, or you want to give them a conference map or something like that, and you just want to email it to anybody who signed up. This is exactly how you can do that. So you can either send a new message or you can resend or do an old one. Again, it looks exactly the same. So we're just going to click resend so we can go through here. Now this first page here is going to ask for some general things about the message. So we're going to have the sender, and this is how it's going to show up in their email. It's going to have the reply email. So when people reply to this email, that's going to be where the responses go. We can put the subject in right here. So it's going to be just the subject of the email and show up in their inbox that way. And then we can put the message down here in this box. And we'll let this load the rest of the way. The message is going to be just the bulk of the email, and so that's going to contain, whatever you want them to see here. Okay, there we go, it's loaded. It uses the CK editor that we've got all over the place. So again, you can put links, pictures, text, video, whatever you want in the text of the email here. And then we've got a few different options down in here. You can include their individual registration info. So if you want just a copy, them to see what they signed up for. You can include QR codes in here, and these are just included with their attendee ID, or encoded with their attendee ID, and those are used on a couple different reports that we have. You can include their admin notes if you wanted to. You can also copy the event notification email so that they'll get these emails also and be copied on it. And you can also attach attendance certificates if you wanted to, if they're marked as attended. And those will affect anybody that you send the email to. Okay, so we'll go past this page. Oh, oops, I actually have to fill in some information. So again, that's a feature to prevent you from doing something like that. Okay, we'll let the rest of this page load up again here. All right, this next page here will allow you to attach files to it. So if you want to attach, again, a schedule, a picture, anything you want to attach to it, you can do right from here. And then this next page here, this is going to let us choose our recipients. So this box on the left right here, these are all of the individual attendees for the event. So you can select any or all of them. If you hold down the control button, you can select multiple people here. So you can add people for that way. You can also add them by query. So we can say, people who only selected such and such packages, or if they actually attended the event, or if they filled out any of these fields here, and we can add them that way. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. So, if you only want to contact people that got a specific package because one of their options changed, it's very easy to add them that way. So I'm just going to add, we'll add the fake one on here. And so as soon as you add someone here, again, it's going to go through the query and then add them over on the recipient side. And you have a few different options with that at that point. You can choose to remove them from there. So the delete one is right here. You can just remove them. And then once you've already sent the email, you can choose to resend it to them if you want to. So you can resend the whole email with your list, but only to certain people on the list if you wanted to. So we'll continue past here. And then this last page that's going to load up here is going to give us a preview of what the message will look like and any of the options that we've selected on it, so that we get one last chance to take a look at what the email is before we send it out. So again, we've got our list of recipients here. We've got our subject, our message, and then if we had any attachments, they would be listed right here. And if you see up at the top here, we've got a little breadcrumb, so you can go back to any part of this at any point and change that. And all you have to do from that point is click send the message. All right, well, that's pretty much the basics of event registration. I hope this video was helpful. And like I said, if you'd like more in-depth about information about anything that I discuss on here, please check our other videos. I'm sure we have something like that. And as always, if you have questions, you can always submit a ticket to service@veithconsulting.com. Thanks again. Have a nice day. Bye.